Welcome back to TVB News. Voters in Latin America's largest country go to the polls today in what is expected to be Brazil's tightest presidential election race in decades. The latest polls show the incumbent Dilma Rousseff with a slight lead over her challenger as they head into a bitterly contested runoff vote. Amid accusations of government corruption, the campaigns of the left-leaning Workers' Party and the center-right Social Democracy Party have hit a fever pitch in the last few weeks. Incumbent Dilma Rousseff and challenger Aitken Neves have fought bitterly to convince voters that they can deliver on economic growth while maintaining social advances. As they headed for the final debate, there was no shortage of verbal jabs and allegations.
Não existe esse si.
The latest polls give Rousseff an edge of as much as 8 percentage points. The choice between Rousseff and Neves has split Brazilians into two camps. Rousseff has gained ground with poorer Brazilians by reminding voters of the rising wages and expanding social programs over the past 12 years of her party's rule. She says Neves would only govern for the elite. Neves has hammered Rousseff over a widening kickback scandal at a state-run oil company. Wealthier Brazilians who are against what they see as too much government control of the economy favor his business-friendly stance. He's promising new ideas on an economy that has stagnated for the last 4 years. With the rallies over, Brazil's more than 140 million voters will go to the polls in a compulsory vote with plenty of security. Most votes will be registered through a system of more than 500,000 electronic ballot boxes that election officials promise will enhance security. Meanwhile, the military is being deployed to polling stations in communities that are notorious for violence between drug gangs and the police. Meanwhile, voters in Ukraine are also heading to the polls today to elect a new parliament. The snap election is aimed at overhauling a legislature that has been tainted by its association with ousted President Viktor Yanukovych. The election is likely to install a pro-Western parliament and strengthen President Petro Poroshenko's mandate to end separatist conflict in the east, but it may fuel tension with Russia. Poroshenko's party is expected to receive the largest share of the vote, but it remains to be seen if the party will be able to form a government without outside help. About 36 million people have been registered to vote, but the election is not being held in areas controlled by pro-Russian separatist rebels in the east.
A total of 3 U.S. states have now made it a mandatory requirement to quarantine anyone who had direct contact with Ebola patients for 21 days. But one nurse who treated Ebola patients is outraged by the move and claims she was treated like a criminal upon her return from West Africa.
21 days is thought to be Ebola's maximum incubation period. So that's exactly how long health authorities in New York, New Jersey, and Illinois are going to quarantine arriving passengers who either treated or had contact with Ebola sufferers.
In a region like this, you go out 1, 2, or 3 times, you ride the subway, you ride a bus, you could affect hundreds and hundreds of people. So I don't believe this is too serious to be dealing with voluntary quarantine.
Our states have to be the most vigilant, and we are going to be the most vigilant.
Such drastic steps were mandated when Dr. Craig Spencer came down with the virus after returning to New York from treating Ebola patients in West Africa. But nurse Casey Hickox claims the new requirements made her feel like a criminal at Newark Liberty International Airport. As a volunteer with Doctors Without Borders, Hickox donated her time to help fight the outbreak in Sierra Leone. And even though she tested negative upon her return, Hickox was transported to a New Jersey hospital where she remains quarantined inside a tent. Such Ebola hysteria had President Barack Obama pleading with Americans to base the disease on facts, not fear.
Of the 7 Americans treated so far for Ebola, the 5 who contracted it in West Africa, plus the 2 nurses from Dallas, all 7 have survived.
One of those survivors is Ashoka Mukpo. He contracted the virus in Liberia working as a freelance cameraman for NBC News. He worries the 21-day quarantine is a major disincentive.
Every healthcare person who goes over those countries and treats Ebola patients is a precious, precious commodity that is incredibly valuable in the fight against Ebola. So to do anything that makes it more difficult for those people to go is not the right thing to do right now.
Authorities in Hawaii are warning residents near an active lava flow to prepare to evacuate. This was a scene as the molten rock began oozing out and edging closer to homes in the town of Pahoa on the Big Island of Hawaii. The lava stream is about 50 to 70 meters wide and is moving northeast at about 9 meters per hour. Even though it's burning up asphalt and generating smoke, authorities say it does not pose a health risk at the moment. Kilauea volcano has been erupting continuously since 1983. All right, what do you have for us in sports today?
Yeah, a bit of an eruption in the World Series to show you in just a moment, Sonia. But first, we are going to begin with football action to show you. In Spain, we begin where Real Madrid and Barcelona renewed their rivalry at the Bernabeu.